Hi friends, host Eric here, talking with French people, and I want to talk about Hellfire 44. She came to the room here yesterday, and she said she was happy to meet me apparently, and said she'd watched my videos for a couple years, and then talked about how she's a little bit afraid to share with me her content because that she thought it would make me not like her. So of course that tickled my curiosity. Well, what the hell are you talking about? Um, anyway, eventually I kind of got her to open up and say what it was. And so her basic worldview is that it begins with this notion that Jews are the offspring of Eve and Satan, the Canaanites, basically. And that prior to the Garden of Eden, in which God made Adam and Eve, and in which Eve had one son with Adam, Abel, and one son with Satan, Cain, that prior to that, black people were already on the earth, but that God didn't make them. How they got there, nobody's quite sure. Why they would be populating an earth that purportedly didn't exist until God created it, I'm not sure, but she didn't go into that. Okay, so let's step back now. Okay, so we know where the Jews came from. They came from that unholy union between Eve and Satan, and I've got some other news for you. If you want to know where chimeras come from, it's when Satan has sex with animals. So if Satan has sex with like a lion or something, then the offspring will come out half lion and half dragon or something like that. So if you have a chimera problem near your house, check for Satan and get your cats and dogs spayed and neutered. Okay, so that we know that. Now I asked her, are Jews a race? And she said, no, they're mongrels from Turkey, from the area of Turkey. So naturally, I was curious. Well, was when Cain came out of Eve, the first Jew, presumably, was Eve a Jew to begin with? Because normally Judaism is considered matrilineal. And if not, was Cain a purebred Jew? Or was he already mongrelized in the initial expression of his Judaism? I got no clear answer on that. I'm curious. Obviously, it's an important point for me. I need to know. If I'm going to move forward in life, I'm going to need an answer to that question. Uh, she also, well, put it this way. She said plenty of bad things about so-called black people and Jews and such. And she talked about how research shows that Africans have very low intelligence. They're basically retarded. I'm sorry, that sounds mean, I know. No, it doesn't sound mean, Hellfire 44. It sounds like, yeah, well, ignorant could be one way. But see, I don't want to condemn her for her anti-political correctness or something. The problem isn't that her positions are offensive. It's that
they're wrong.
they're complete make-believe. You can't be mean to somebody by saying, I'm going to be mean to you. You are a member of a group of people, and I deem that whole group of people retarded because I've heard reference. She probably didn't check the study at all. I've heard referenced a study that said Africans are less intelligent. Well, the actual study that you're referencing, I'm familiar with, and it's a study of only sub-Saharan African populations, and it's worth noting that Africa contains a number of different populations who don't necessarily identify with each other. So if you're in sub-Saharan Africa, like Ethiopia and shit, you've got a very tall, slender group of people. And if you're in like Congo or something, you've got a more squat, thicker group of people. And if you're in North Africa, you've got more like Muslim looking people, right? So, yes, that study does show that sub Saharan Africans have score consistently score substantially lower on IQ tests than any other population in the world. And it might be the case that the ancestral genetics of that population of people is overweighted with dumb people. So it's like it's possible that, if you go back 7 generations and look at the great grandparents of this population, that population, this population, that it just so happened that somebody had to be the dumbest. It happened to be the sub-Saharan Africans. So I don't know. It could be environmental. How are they going to score well on an intelligence test when they have so little linkage in place in terms of ideation that one develops by being in a prosperous, information fluid society like ours? I mean, that's an element to say they become a product of their environment. It certainly is true that being a product of their environment is one element in why they score lower on intelligence tests. But note additionally this: it could also possibly be the case that the sub-Saharan African population consistently scores lower on intelligence tests than any other population in the world, and concurrently that the top 10 smartest people in the world are sub-Saharan Africans. It could be the case. In other words, your general demographic data is not indicative about any individual human being. And that's the problem with your group politics. That's one of the problems. Your group politics are fucking nuts. I mean, the thing is, this woman, she spent such a long time leading up to telling me what she thought by explaining how good her argumentation was. Like, I've really done a lot of research. I've studied the hell out of this. I know facts. I know blah, 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 blah. Well, because the problem is, she's very accustomed to dismissing those who dismiss her ideas on the grounds that if you dismiss her ideas, you're mad because you have political opinions, that the truth is getting interfering. Her truth is interfering with my political opinion. That's not why I dismiss you. It had nothing to do with it. You could be making arguments about the Jews being the worst people in the world, and if you make good arguments, I would agree with you. So I'm not attached to the position that anti-Semitism is inherently bad, although I'm highly convinced it is, but I'm not attached to the position. But the problem is, nobody's even come close to making adequate arguments to convince me to the contrary. So I'm going to sit with where I'm established. I am not telling you your ideas are retarded and your argumentation is as weak as the wispiest willow leaf on the wispiest willow tree in the wispiest forest in a strong windstorm. What I'm telling you is the reason I'm dismissing you is not because your ideas are hateful, but because your argumentation is garbage. So, ENFPs, remember you have PoLR TI. It doesn't mean you can't be a great artist. It probably means you can't be a great thinker. If you are engaged in serious argumentation to advocate a position, understand the basics. Understand that you are making claims. They need to be substantiated with evidence outside of your own circular, self-referential, self-justifying model of bullshit. Okay? So, Hellfire 44, you are absolutely welcome around here. Even though you're crazily racist and anti-Semitic, you're absolutely welcome around here. And when you bring garbage fucking crap ideas that are substantiated by nothing, and then you can't answer any questions that would substantiate things one way or the other, then expect to get made fun of. And you're still welcome around here. This is a place where we optimize through being held to account for our failures, myself included, 1,000,000%. So, Hellfire, congratulations, you got a video made about you. If you're feeling bad because you think I'm not taking you seriously, not my intention to make you feel bad, although I'm not surprised by it. If you want to come hang out and chat and stuff, you're welcome to do so. If you bring arguments with you, expect them to get scrutinized and challenged. If you want those arguments to withstand scrutiny and challenge, make sure they're substantiated with legitimate means. Okay? You can make the most offensive, quote unquote, arguments in the world here. The only thing that will be offensive about them to me is that they're made badly. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to play and chase. Any comments from Mark, Janelle, Tom, or Freigeist? Freigeist?
Freigeist.
Freigeist.
I got nothing.
Nothing,
No comment.
Janelle. Mark's got a knowing pencil cheek pressing nod.
I mean, the only thing I would comment to what you said is that ENFPs can argue if they develop a system with their TE. If they can go about it that way, and they can be, if they have to develop that, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to share. Blah blah blah.